Brianna Maitland's story is well known to true crime fans. Some identify with a 17-year-old working 2 jobs, just having passed her GED, with hopes of going to college and moving away from an extremely rural area. Others are haunted by the image of her empty car backed into an abandoned barn off the side of the road, with rumors swirling of drug involvement. 21 years later, what happened to Brianna remains a mystery. Brianna disappeared on March 19th of 2004 after leaving the Black Lantern Inn in Montgomery, Vermont, where she worked as a dishwasher. It was approximately between 11:20 p.m. and midnight when she drove off headed in the direction of home, where she lived with her friend Julian in the nearby town of Sheldon. Co-workers at the inn had invited her to stay for dinner, but Brianna was tired and cited having to get up early for her second job, waitressing in nearby St. Albans. But she never arrived home. The next day, on March 20th, someone reported an abandoned car off East Berkshire Road and Route 118, about a mile from the inn. The car was strangely rammed backwards into the old barn there. The place had been formerly owned by Myron and Harry Dutchburn, who had been beaten and robbed there in 1986. The location had been vacant for 6 years before Brianna's disappearance. Brianna's green 1985 Oldsmobile sedan was hung up on the structure with its rear bumper and tires elevated. When a state trooper arrived to investigate, he found a broken necklace, loose change, a water bottle, an unsmoked cigarette, and a piece of broken plywood near the car. Its keys were missing, but 2 uncashed paychecks lay on the front seat. Brianna's clothing, migraine medicine, makeup, driver's license, and contact lenses were all still inside the car. The trooper assumed the car had been abandoned by a drunk driver and had it towed. Unfortunately, Brianna wasn't reported missing for several days. She had left a note for Jillian saying she would be home that night, which Jillian had seen, but Jillian spent the weekend elsewhere and found the note still there on the following Monday. Even then, she assumed Brianna was visiting her family and didn't call Brianna's mom until Tuesday. Mom Kelly called everywhere trying to locate Brianna and was unable to do so. When she filed a missing persons report that day, she was still unaware Brianna's car had been recovered. No one had called her, despite the vehicle being registered in her name. That Thursday, Brianna's parents gave photos of their daughter to Vermont State Police, and a trooper showed them photos of the car parked awkwardly against the barn. Kelly Maitland said she instinctively felt someone else had left it that way. Several witnesses came forward to report having seen the car at the Dutchburn property that night, including a former boyfriend of Brianna's. In 2025, a private investigator interviewed a couple who said they had been driving past around midnight that night and seen a tall, stocky man standing in front of the car. They also claimed to have seen a silver or gray Honda Civic near the scene. Initially, authorities believed Brianna had run away. The area surrounding the barn was searched, but nothing was found. Law enforcement later concluded that foul play was likely involved in her disappearance, and that the scene might even have been staged. A week after her disappearance, Vermont police received an anonymous tip that claimed Brianna was being held in a house in Berkshire, 10 minutes from Montgomery. The house was being rented by known drug dealers from New York named Ramon Ryans and Nathaniel Charles Jackson. Police raided the home in April, found drugs, and made arrests, but no sign of Brianna was found. When interviewed, some of Brianna's friends claimed she had experimented with hard drugs and was an acquaintance of Ryans and Jackson. In 2004, a written tip implicated the drug dealers in her murder in graphic detail, but law enforcement was unable to corroborate the letter. In 2006, security cameras at a Caesars casino in Atlantic City caught a woman resembling Brianna at a poker table, but the footage was grainy and she was never identified. One theory suggested serial killer Israel Keyes murdered Brianna, but police ruled out his involvement. The Maura Murray case has also been connected to Brianna's disappearance. Murray was a college student from Massachusetts who vanished a month before Brianna did. Authorities have also deemed it unrelated. Those who study Brianna's case often point to an incident that occurred 3 weeks before Brianna went missing. A former friend, Keely LaCrosse, attacked Brianna while at a party. Motive for the attack is sketchy, though many think it had to do with jealousy over a male at the party. Despite her martial arts training, Brianna didn't fight back, ended up with cuts, a broken nose, and a concussion. She later filed charges against Lacrosse, but it was dropped when Brianna went missing. In March of 2016, investigators announced that DNA had been recovered from Brianna's car, but further information was not revealed. In 2022, the Vermont State Police claimed to have found a match to the car DNA sample, but the identity of the person was not publicly shared. Finally, in 2024, the FBI announced a reward of up to $40,000 for information leading to Brianna's location. Her case is still unsolved.
Welcome to True Crime Psychic Eye. My name is Maryam, and tonight we are back with a new case. Our episodes air live 2 times a month, except of course coming November and December, that will be 1 time a month due to the holidays. If there's a case you would like us to investigate, please let us know in the comments. And before we get started, let's meet everybody. My name is Maryam, and I am a psychic medium. We have Harlow, the backbone of the show. She's our writer and artist who chooses the cases, produces the videos, provides all the research for the cases. She has her own books that you can find on Amazon. Denise is our second psychic medium. She's a life doula, Reiki healer who helps women align with their inner wisdom to become their own maven. Myself and Denise do not follow or read up on true crime specifically, so we can come in as clear as possible. Of course, though, there are many high-profile cases that maybe we have heard of. We've heard stories. And when that's the case, we'll make sure to let you guys know at the top of the show. Because of the influx of interest that you guys have sent us with so many smaller cases, we will be setting up a channel membership launching January 1st of 2026, so next year. And we will have a lot of those smaller cases along with other content readings available launching January 1. So make sure to subscribe, follow, and we'll keep you posted on when that is all coming out. Tonight is obviously the mystery of what happened to Brianna Maitland. It has remained it's been an unsolved mystery since she vanished in March of 2004. Her car eerily left, as you saw, abandoned at an old barn, and rumors of retribution by drug dealers. This case is fascinating, to say the least. There's so many twists and turns, but it's also really tragic, of course. So let's see if tonight we can break some ground, because, man, I didn't realize all the different places this case went. Obviously, I've never heard of the case, wasn't aware of any of this until tonight. That's a lot to comb through. And Harlow, that must have been a lot of work.
It's not as in depth as like some of the other ones we've done, like the Jody Huisentrude case. There's a lot there. This one, there is a lot, but yet there isn't. It's just once that car was found, that was the end of it. She's never been seen anywhere other than, they thought they saw her on that video in Atlantic City, but then they couldn't. It was so grainy they couldn't make any heads or tails of it and didn't think it was actually her. And no physical evidence has ever been found. So there's not a lot beyond finding that car of hers.
All right. So, and Denise, this is a new case for you also, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't hear anything about this. And like you said at the top of the show, I don't follow any of these things, so I really have no idea what is going on with any of it. So because I want to come in clear without any preconceived concepts of what I've come up with or whatever, based on, reading an article or whatever. And yeah, so it's definitely
new.
All
right. So Harlow, what is the first question? Denise uses her cards. She's also clairvoyant as myself, but to try to add another dynamic to the show, she's going to be utilizing her cards while I'm reading. And Harlow, our researcher is going to ask us a question. We're going to stay on track as best as possible, but we drive her crazy because we don't stay on track.
Nah, I'm not. I was way crazy before you guys. I did try to see if any psychics had taken on this case, trying to see what had happened. Not a lot of the well-known psychics have really done anything with it. There was one tarot reader who said Brianna had taken a risk by partying with the wrong people, that there was a confrontation, and she overestimated her ability to deal with situations. She decided to leave and someone retaliated, and this particular tarot reader thought someone does have information but is afraid to come forward because they were involved. Another interesting one I did see was a fellow who did a ghost box interview. He asked questions and then saw what came up on the voice box. It came up with like, hurt her and it's over, it's terrible. When he asked for the name of her killer, it said Carl, and it repeated that 2 more times. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But then another psychic said someone was obsessed with her, got jealous, and she tried to pull away, and that led to a bad end. So that's all I found as far as psychic involvement.
Okay.
I think maybe the first thing to lead with is something I didn't have time to put in the video. There is another aspect. The day that she went missing, she spent the morning with her mom having breakfast because they were celebrating that she had passed her GED. So they went to breakfast and then they went shopping. And while they went shopping, they were in line at a store, and suddenly Brianna seemed to see someone outside and got real agitated and said, "I got to go. I'll be right back." And her mom finished paying for what she was doing and went outside, found her in the parking lot. And then Brianna was still upset, clearly, and wanted to go home. So the mom dropped her off, and that was like 3:34 p.m. She didn't ask what was wrong. She didn't want to pry. And that ended up being the last time she saw her. So maybe you can look into what she was seeing, what got her so agitated when they were shopping. And Denise has a card.
Okay. What does the card say, Denise?
Signs and reminders.
Okay.
And this one came out when Harlow was speaking about the information she did not have in the video.
Okay. I think I have Brianna. She's passed. I don't feel that was her in the casino. She wouldn't have abandoned her mother. If she was still alive, she would have contacted her mother. I'm seeing someone like walking her, like with her hands behind her back, like both her hands behind her back, and they're like behind her, like sort of like a policeman would do with if they've cuffed somebody and walking them forward. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a policeman. And bringing her somewhere. And the person that I feel like she was shot, the person that shot her is not, she was in, okay, so hold on. There's a couple things that are happening. The man that was walking her his intention was to spook her, threaten her, scare her. He brought her somewhere and actually tied her up and blindfolded her. And but his intention wasn't ultimately to kill her. Somebody came in and did that. And it's like whoever did that did it to, it's weird because it's like they did it. So there's the guy that I saw walking her. There's this guy that came in from behind that shot her. But the guy that came in from behind didn't even know who that was. He was coming in. It feels like a raid, like to raid the place. And it's like the guy that was walking her was kind of at this level, and the guy that came in and shot her was more at this level of what I don't know. It feels like it's all drug related.
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
Mm-hmm.
But the sad part is she wasn't an addict. She was just a kid experimenting. Mm-hmm. And she was friends with this, like, quote unquote, friends with the guy that led her away. That's why he was willingly, like, it feels like she crashed the car because she was drunk or on drugs. And this guy was either following her, which she knew he was. Like, she knew he was there. What I can't get clear is if she was speeding away from him or if they were like going, like she was under the impression they were going somewhere to party. But it feels like, I feel like she's moving at a high speed to escape something, to escape someone. It's a high speed.
That matches something I saw.
What did you see?
Just in meditation, when I ask, I saw as if I was looking through someone else's eyes, and I saw through a windshield road coming at me really, really fast and erratic, and I got dizzy.
Okay, that's like, I keep hearing the word high velocity.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's the same vision I keep seeing, is like I can feel the speed. And so there's a fear behind it. She's not like relaxed. So that answers my other question, is there's a fear behind that. So she's escaping.
Yeah, it seemed kind of out of control.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if that was her driving. It didn't seem like, I didn't see a steering wheel, so I got the impression it wasn't her driving.
I don't know yet. Maybe Denise can help with that. And then she was taken to this other location, and that's where the person that shot her didn't, again, I stress, didn't know her. So he was there for another reason. And everyone scattered at that point. And he took her body and disposed of it. There's this thing, like, there's like whoever was involved in this is like a ring. It's a ring. And there's a protocol and a way they do things, which is why it's not just Brianna that ends up not found. There's a lot of people that disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And a big reason for why there isn't follow-up is because they are typically heavy drug users. So unfortunately, police think they just sort of ignore the case when they shouldn't. Obviously, everyone's life is worthy. Just because someone is, an addict doesn't give isn't a reason to ignore them. But unfortunately, that's what I'm seeing happening.
Okay.
These people have and they're not just randomly killing people. That's not what's happening. It's gambling debt and
Drug
finance.
debt. Yeah. Were these the drug dealers from New York?
There's two different situations happening.
Okay.
The guy that took her, that she was speeding from, she knew him. It was a friend. It was a quote unquote friend. I don't want to speculate yet. We'll just throw out that information and see where we go from there. And then the guy that, and I'm sorry, ask that question again. Oh, was it the guy that shot her? This is someone from, like I said, a different group, like a different level almost.
Mm-hmm.
Police know about the ring, but they don't really know how to break it up, stop it, catch it, basically.
Did that happen at their house, that house that was raided?
This house it feels wood, like it almost feels barn-like. It's abandoned. There's not much furniture in there at all. Maybe a few, like a chair, desk, maybe. It feels like there's windows missing. It's very much like I'm not seeing houses on either side of it. And where was that house located?
It was just a slightly different town, just not that far away from where she worked.
What's the name of that?
I think it was Berkshire where the house was. And
Sorry, go ahead.
The police did raid it later, but at that point she wasn't there. They couldn't find any evidence of her.
Did that house I described, did that match that house? Or we don't know what that house looks like?
I don't know. It burned down, so I couldn't find any photos of it.
That's interesting that it burned down. That's not a coincidence.
No.
Yeah, it feels like it's all tied together.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Denise, what do you got going on?
So when the first card came out, the signs and the reminders. And so what that said to me is that he showed up because he had been following her, the guy that she knew. And it was a reminder of, I know where you are and you owe me.
As in, that's who she may have seen when she was shopping with her mom?
Yes. And
Okay.
so she went out to talk to him because she didn't want him to interrupt her while she was with her mother, because her mother didn't know of her, shall we say, extracurricular activity. And
Right.
so they were having her go to talk to him. Like she was like, okay, Mom, I'll be right back. And he scared her enough in that moment that she was like, I got to go home and I got to come up with a plan, because I keep seeing money flashing, and it's like she did owe money. She owed money, and they wanted their money. And so he was, yes, he was her friend, and he had a job to do.
I agree with all that.
Okay.
And then she kept pleading to him for compassion. Like, I'm trying, I'm working 2 jobs, I'm doing the best I can. And he's like, I don't have any control over this. This is what they're telling me I have to do, da, 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 da. And so she kept pleading with him, and he was very staunch in his, there's nothing I can do. I've done what I can do, kind of like, as what do they say, the loan sharks, right? It's like, we've given you as much credit as we can give you. So he basically, this card comes up and it says, do the work. And this card is like, get the flipping money. I don't
And
care
that
what
tracks, because she had only been working that second job at the Black Lantern in about 2 weeks before this happened.
Okay. So they were like, you need to get the money. You need to figure this out, because we're done playing games with you. And The thing that really stood out for me in the intro was the 2 checks on the seat of the, and I think to go with the chase, because I could feel that energy of fear. He might, I like you, I can't get a clear picture of whether or not he was in the car with her. Like
Right.
maybe he had been hiding in the back seat and she got in and she didn't know. And
Mhm.
then she was trying, like, that's kind of how I feel. And she's like, I almost get like, she was like, here, I have it. It's right here. It's right here. But it wasn't enough.
Mm.
And so she was trying to fling him out of the car almost like I don't think she was really doing donuts, but that's kind of like, that's how the car ended up backed into the building. Like she was trying to get rid of him.
Yeah.
And it backfired because it actually gave him the opportunity to get her.
Yeah. There were a lot of crazy car tracks around the barn also.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
so then the card that just came out again was Sacred Plan. So unfortunately, because people will be like, well, why did this have to happen? And somehow or another, this plan, whether it was a sacred plan or not, the plan was that this is what he had to do to get the money back, but he meant no harm. He was really, like Maryam said, trying to scare her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you owe us, you have to pay us, and this isn't a game anymore. And then it escalated to the next level of,
Right.
she ended up dead. But I agree, she's definitely not with us any longer here on Earth.
Yeah. The only other thing I saw after the windshield was a white flower.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me see. I'm going to talk to her for a sec, and I want to see if we can move her over because she's really upset, guilt-ridden, and just keeps asking how her mom is. Do you know her mom's name?
Kelly.
Okay, so let me pull her. Just give me a sec, you guys. I want to pull her in a little closer. I'm telling her right now it's not her fault. So if anyone would like to help, we are going to be allowed to move her over. If you've never done that before, you just close your eyes and imagine her. The state that she's in right now is she's crying and she's filled with guilt. And she's worried about her mom. And so what we do is we start to lift her chin a bit so she can open up her consciousness and realize that if she looks up, her guides are there and they're ready to help her move on. She doesn't, and we're just holding her, allowing her to cry, but then we're also reassuring her that this was not her fault. This should not have happened. And, you know, this wasn't her fault, period, end of story. Anyone that's new to this, when I say she's crying, she feels guilt, her head is down, what that means is not literally tears, but there's a residual energy that she's held that holds her here, which is why a lot of times we say that they're stuck, because that residual pain and guilt is holding her. So we want her to express that enough and then start to lift her chin. So just literally imagine like lifting her chin up so she can see something different than her suffering. And that something different is her guides. And they're going to take it from here. But first she needs support to see something different. So let's take a minute and help her do this. I'm letting her know that her mom is going to feel that she has found peace in her own way. However, mom will have that communicated to her. And And so she doesn't have to worry about her. She keeps taking the blame, and I keep reminding her this wasn't her fault. And I'm telling her she'll be able to communicate more effectively with her mom when she passes all the way over. Telling her that I love her and I'm proud of her. I'm not sure why all these feelings are coming up, but I'm allowing them to come up. It's maybe that as a child, even though I know she was a young adult, she was still a child and just needs that maternal acceptance. And I feel like she's moved. And from this space, she can now communicate more effectively with her mother, and close this chapter for her mom. What else do we need to know, Harlow?
Other than if we can figure out who's responsible or
Yeah.
where her remains might be.
The remains won't be found.
Okay.
I don't even feel like I don't necessarily, they were burned, not necessarily in that fire that the house burned down in, but that like an incinerator.
Okay.
The man that originally let her off is still alive. He technically wasn't the one to kill her. The one that did, he's like a ringleader. And the guy that, was chasing her down for the money would never narc on this guy. So, and he's the only man, the man that took her is the only one that knows of this other person that came in. Nobody else knows.
Okay.
Except, he did confide in somebody. He did confide in a friend because of his guilt, because he felt so guilty.
Mm-hmm.
But neither one of them will ever out that person. But the police know of that person. So it's not that the police know who did it and aren't doing anything. It's the police know who this ringleader is.
Okay.
New Jersey. Honestly, I don't even want to say anything more. I don't want to get involved.
Okay.
But that's all that I'm getting on that.
Interesting.
I think as you were reading that, what I could see and what I got was when you were talking about the ring, they have all of the components covered.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a crematorium involved with this, which is why the remains will never be found, because they have their bases covered.
It reminds me of the art heist one that we did.
Yes.
Remember, Harlow?
Yeah, with the different levels of people involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just a ring that's been around for so long. And the cops, and it's big and it extends out.
Yeah.
And so the cops can't really get a hold of it.
And especially in a very small town like that, because I feel like that what I kept seeing, like, and especially I kept hearing mob, Like, and especially when you said New Jersey, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. It's all on the Eastern Seaboard, and it goes, and I saw different groups, if you will, but they work together with certain businesses, to use that term loosely. And this was a combined business, if you will. And this bigger person came from a different leg. And, and it was more of a send a message to anybody else who doesn't pay kind of thing. It really was more of a that kind of a thing than it was, it wasn't personal. It wasn't like this person that did it is just very oddly, it's just like no feeling, matter of fact, boom, you're done. Peace out later, alligator, whatever. And I don't mean to be cavalier about it, but that's how this person's energy is in regards to this.
I agree. It was just like, come in, do it, get out. And again, I don't even know it. That person that came in and shot her didn't even know who she was. It was like, It didn't matter. It was like, this is a mess. What's happening? This is a mess. We need to fix this.
It was almost like, dude, you were supposed to handle this. You didn't handle this correctly. Now look where we're at. I will got to finish this. I got, like, he was the closer or whatever they call him when you watch the crime shows. I don't watch them because they creep me out. But, but it's almost like they have those people that come in and like clean up the mess or whatever. And it was like, that was his job in this. And it's like, and it was also a message to the other guy that was kind of like her friend, like, we're not playing here. This is for real. You either get your collections together or this is going to be you, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I agree, because he came in to address that guy, not Brianna. Brianna to him it's like
she was just.
It's like a CEO. Yeah, it's like a CEO of Target coming in and talking to the cashier. At Target. I mean, they should talk to them and they should treat them the same, but they don't.
Right.
And that was the vibe of this guy coming in. It was like, Brianna's this many levels below him. And he's like, that I shouldn't even be dealing with this right now. But he came in to address the guy, the friend, which is why the friend was coming in so hard on Brianna, because they were breathing down his neck. So, and it's just, I think what sucks is like, why, I think what I don't, like when you start asking yourself, like, this didn't have to happen, because Brianna wasn't okay, I'm understanding this a little bit better. The guy that took Brianna, he had, so they're showing me like almost a multi-level marketing thing, businesses where he started to pull in a lot of different people that he was selling to. And he had all these different levels, it's only working if all the levels are paying for the goods. And for some reason, there was more debt than income. And this kid that was building this multi-level marketing type setup got underwater. So,
he extended too much credit to his, because he wasn't able to pay what he needed to pay for when he bought his product.
Right.
And so the ring accepted, okay, fine, but it didn't, the tiers weren't, I don't know. I keep seeing like, those little things that kids have where they pour the water and then it's and the buckets go into each bucket. And it's kind of like, there wasn't enough water at the top of the bucket to get all the way down to the bottom of the bucket because the money wasn't coming in. And had the money been coming in, then it would have kept flowing easily. And I don't think the friend got out of the industry. I think he just realized that he better play by their rules.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because I feel like on one hand, he almost didn't know how to get out of it either. even if he wanted to, because he had gotten himself so far in that he didn't realize. I know that sounds crazy, but he really didn't fully realize what he was getting himself into. He just thought he was going to make some money.
Mm-hmm. Do we know the name of this kid, Harlow?
Well, it depends on if you mean the two gentlemen from New York were Ryans and Jackson, but I don't know which would be which.
Ryan, one was Ryan, one was Jackson.
Yeah.
I feel like the friend though that she was getting her drugs from, that it was, you know, making an example. I feel like he was local to the area. I don't feel like he was.
Yeah. That's true. They did say they matched it to someone, but they never announced who it was. They never identified a person.
Okay. There was some type of DNA evidence found outside the car that the police have, and it could have been matched to someone. Why do you think they didn't reveal who it was matched to?
I don't know. That was just a couple years ago, and they made that statement, but then nothing ever came from it.
You know, you got it. This is just obviously me being more logical and intuitive, but I mean, if they know who this ring of guys are, like, are the cops really gonna dig into that? And maybe that's why they didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, they may have matched the DNA. That doesn't mean they have evidence that can be prosecuted.
Right. Yeah. And they don't want to tip their hand, because if at some point they can prosecute this case, they don't want it to be thrown out of court because evidence was tampered with, or, you know, whatever. Again, not intuitively thinking, that's my logical side going, you know, with this at that point, because, you know, I feel like that I feel like the kid, I feel like there was like an argument between the two of them too. Like, he's like, how many times did I have to tell you this, Brianna? Like, I told you we can't do this anymore. But you know what I mean? It was more like he was really trying to get her to figure it out. And unfortunately, I think she was figuring it out, but it was too late.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and it was kind of almost of like, I hate to put it this way, but it was like, in his mind, it was like, you or me, but I'm not dying here. I didn't do this. You did this. You created. And I don't want her to feel guilty on the other side, because I did pull cards while we were, you know, doing that, because it wasn't her fault. She was trying to make it right, you know, that sort of thing. And at the same time, he wasn't going to go down for her mix up.
No, he wasn't.
With him extending credit, he kind of put people in that position too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because he got greedy, because it's like, okay, well, you know, if you pay me now, it's this price, but if I extend it to you, then it's this price. And because they wanted it, they're like, okay, not realizing, you know, that extra 5, 10, 20, whatever dollars. I don't even know. It's not my
teenager is not going to be able to pay this exorbitant amount of money. Yeah.
No, right. Exactly.
And they just met, you know, they just met at a party. They met at a party, and it was all just chill party stuff.
Right.
Nobody knew that this guy was wrapped up in this whole other ring.
No, they just thought he was like some dude that could figure it out. They didn't know how he figured it out. They didn't know why he figured it out. And then it just kind of escalated into, oh, and I think, because I know there was a fight with the friend. And so I don't know. I think that was a separate thing from this. But I also think that everybody he was the go-to guy in the town, but nobody realized to what extent he was involved.
Yeah, I think at that age, none of us, I mean, back when I partied, I didn't know where I didn't do drugs.
Damn.
But it never occurred to any of us where the drugs were coming from, because you always knew people who did them, but it was never like, you know, it was like, oh, I don't know. I mean, even honestly, until this case, I was always been like, I don't know where people get their drugs from. I don't know. But obviously now there's a chain of people involved of where these drugs come from. And if you're not, paying people out correctly, shit happens. So, and Denise's dogs obviously had a lot to say. They're still barking.
Yeah.
Is that the Great Dane? Oh, it's another one. Yeah. Oh, it makes my dogs look like little angels.
You shouldn't say it. You're tempting fate.
I totally. I guess we lost Denise.
Yeah. It sounds like they might eat her.
I know. It sounded like there was like.
Wow. Okay.
Oh my God.
Naughty.
Denise, is there just one? There's two. Oh. Harlow, did we cover everything?
I think so. Other than, the little stuff that doesn't really matter is, because people had questions about if someone was, like Denise mentioned, waiting for her in her car, or if they just followed her in a car from the inn, or if they met her on the road. But basically, that's about it.
I mean, the only thing what's interesting is, Harlow, how you and I both so clearly got that you could feel the road and the speed of her.
I had to stop. I got so dizzy. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt one person in the car, but that I felt one person behind the driver's seat. That doesn't mean, like Denise said, if there was someone behind this and hiding, I wasn't feeling that. I was feeling one person behind the driver's seat driving very fast, and that sense of being chased. So
yeah, that's what I wondered, if they were just following her or waiting for her near the barn, and then that's when a chase happened.
Yeah.
I think the only other thing that might be a question was, some people thought, including Brianna's mom, was that she didn't back into the barn. Did she do that trying to get away, or was someone else driving and back it into the car? Was it a setup? Did they stage it that way? You get a sense of that?
For me, and I'm not saying that this is like, I'm not going to go, no, for sure. But for me, the feeling is her driving the car. She's high or she's drunk, and she's trying to get away. The speed, like he somehow either cut her off, or I don't know. Like somehow this guy is intimidating her. Whether it's like Denise said, he's in the car, or whether he's in his own car, and it's causing her to move erratically. That, combined with her being intoxicated, is causing an erratic movement. I feel like she put herself there by accident, obviously.
Right.
I don't feel like it was a setup. Like, I don't feel like they came in and set the scene and it was a setup. I feel like it was a genuine
chaos. Yeah.
Chaos. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is at what point here's a question. At what point did it turn from, because I'm feeling this camaraderie between the two of them, like a typical young partying relationship. Like, oh, we party, hey, what's up? Like that. Like, when did it turn from that to she's scared of him?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of asking myself that too, because we know it was him chasing her, but she was not scared of him before. So why now? And
well, if maybe he's the one she saw when she was with her mom, so maybe she knew something more was up than normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I almost feel like I just don't know yet that he was scaring, like he didn't scare her enough. Like something shifted in that when they were at the mall to when she was being followed, to where I feel like there was someone else or something else that
escalated that much more.
Yeah. because it went from everything's chill, I need to get more money, like I'm kind of in the hole here, to absolute fear. And I'm confused on that.
Mhm.
What happened at the mall that took her? Because I don't feel he scared her enough, which is how she ended up in this position and how he ended up in this position.
So what I kind of think maybe happened is that because what I got was he threatened about something about her mother. And did she have younger siblings?
I don't remember.
I almost feel like he threatened her family, and like she took that part seriously. Like, I know your mother, I know where you live. You know what I mean? Like, like in the, in the old Godfather movies, I know where you live, kind of thing. And I feel like it was more something of that nature. Like, if you don't do this, I'm coming to your mother, like to get the money, sort of. And like, this is not something she wanted her mom to know anything about her. Because like you said, she wasn't a drug addict. She was just experimenting and that sort of thing. So I feel like it was more of her not wanting her mother to find out, because her mother was so proud of her because she had just gotten her GED. She was getting her life together, and she didn't want to disappoint her mother in regards to like, well, I thought you had your life on track and now this is where you're at. What do you mean you owe this dude, $150? Because I presume drugs weren't as expensive as I don't know. I have no idea. But
it's $150. But yes, I'm sure it was $1,000. But April, I'm going to address your question in just a sec. I just don't feel like he scared her. What I feel like is he came to her scared and said, there's someone else involved now. This is beyond me. And because I don't feel I don't see him scaring her until he came to her and was scared. And he's saying, okay, whatever he's saying, that basically the interaction now is, dude, I'm freaked out. That freaked her out. And I feel like he was saying there's somebody else. And when she felt herself being followed, even though it was this kid following her, that's when she was like, he just told me someone else. Like she started, I keep having this feeling, Lindy, to say this. She wasn't scared of him until she was. And that shifted on a dime. And so that now I'm starting to see that at the mall, he went to her and said, there's somebody else.
Okay.
And that someone else was scaring him. And he was scaring her. And not to be like, he wasn't scaring her, like threatening her. He was like, I'm freaked out. I'm freaked out. And you're involved. That's where this started to get unhinged. Because I couldn't figure out why. I just like, he is not the one. He does not have it in him to take someone's life. He does not have it in him to do this. But he did have it in him to, like I said, took her like this and dragged her somewhere. His understanding wasn't that they were going to, off her. April. Right. Unfortunately, I did in my party days, due to a misunderstanding, I nearly ended up in the Whitakers, a forest of many burials. Thankfully, my intuition. Oh, wow. No kidding. So, April, you can relate to that. Thank God you're still here. Yeah, that was the sticking point for me. I was like, this kid isn't scaring her. Like, that's not who. Now I understand.
Yeah, he was scared, and he was trying to, I feel like him getting a hold of her was more like, I'm doing my part. Like, just let me figure it out. But then the guy came in.
And the guy was coming in for a whole other reason, but yeah, I mean, he was never going to do that to her. So that's why it's just like, man, none of this needed to happen. Her mom would have just paid the money and figured out a way to pay the money, and everyone would have moved on, but I mean, everything does happen for a reason, as painful as that is, as painful as it is to say something like that in these situations. That is the truth, and I'm not saying that her mother should feel okay by hearing that by any means.
No, exactly.
It's just that,
it's like the term, it is what it is. It's like, you kind of hate that term. And at the same time, there's just certain circumstances that's just how it explains it.
Yeah, it's where we are now. Well, you did a great job on this case, Harlow, because I felt like there was, like, when I first stepped into it, I was like, whoa, there's a lot happening here. So you did good work on that. Do we know who's next?
Yes, we do. We are doing something a little bit different, but also a case that a lot of people are familiar with because it's one of the most bizarre mysteries. It's the case of the Springfield Three. It's two young girls, 18 and 19, and their mom, who disappeared from a home. Their cars were all still there, their purses, even with money in a purse, their cigarettes and lighters, everything were still there. And there's no sign of them ever been found anywhere.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
It's
all
really
right.
an interesting one.
So 2 weeks from tonight, the Springfield 3. Also, stay tuned for our post show next week where we revisit the case and see if we got any new information, any new intuition came through. Megan, it's just also sad, but hopefully by you talking about this case, you have helped Brianna find peace. Thank you. We hope so too. Ooh, what did you pull?
So I pulled these cards while we were helping her get over. And this card is the guardian angel. So she's now a guardian angel. And then the other card is joy and contentment. So she has found her joy and her contentment now that she didn't have when she was here. Not here, but stuck in the middle.
It's been a long time.
Yep. And she found forgiveness and understanding for herself through that process.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Oh, poor Brianna, that poor little girl.
So we may not have solved the case, but this was our purpose in connecting with this case to help her get across to the other side so that she can be that guardian angel now for her mom.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Denise. Well, Harlow, another job well done. Thanks, you guys. Springfield 3 is coming up in 2 weeks. Next week will be our post show to update you guys on any new information we've received on this case. Please let us know, in the comments, if there's any cases out there you want us to investigate further. And thank you as always for supporting us. We will have our membership rolling out January 1. So stay tuned for that.
And sorry about my dogs.
Dogs are always welcome here.
Yeah.
Anyone who's interested, I'll be doing a guided meditation on my page, Maryam Farish, at 7:15. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.
Bye.